Okay, so Assalamu alaikum, everyone. My name is Tariq Ahmed, and as always, it is my pleasure really to welcome you to this session on exploring opportunities at the world's top multinational organizations organized by the Alleyways Mentorship Program. And today we have our special guest of honor in person of Hajo Sani and 3 other speakers in person of Dr. Ibrahim, Dr. Muhammad, and Dr. Najeeb, and they will ponder on this topic and provide us really with insights as to the kind of opportunities that are available within these multinational companies and how we can tap into these multitude of opportunities. So before I call on to our speakers, first of all, as you know, we're always excited about a number of programs that we're organizing within the Alleyways Mentorship Program. So I think I'll pass on the virtual mic to Dr. Yakubu, who will talk us through how we can get involved and probably a number of other programs that we already have on our social media platforms. So it's highly recommended that you have a look at these previous programs, which are very, very interesting. Dr. Yakubu, over to you, please.
Thank you very much, Dr. Tariq. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome all our participants and our speakers. Our special guest, Dr. Hajo Sani, is the ambassador of Nigeria to UNESCO. And I would like to particularly appreciate the efforts of the members of our organizing committee for the insights to organize this remarkable session that will provide insights to our youth, especially on the opportunities that are out there to explore in the top multinational organizations in the world. This is highly commendable. And briefly, I would like to take you through, if this is your first time of joining us, so the Arewa Youth Mentorship Program, we have a series of programs that we've held before. I believe many of you here, they are not first timers, but in case you are joining us for the first time, the AYMP is simply a platform where concerned northern Nigerian academics and entrepreneurs that are residing in different parts of the world come together to offer their contributions in terms of career guidance, providing scholarship opportunities, even entrepreneurship, leadership skills, and mentorship stuff. So it's a good opportunity that I implore all of us to take good advantage of. And like I said, if you have missed the past sessions, you can always go to our data bank, that's the YouTube. Go there, you can watch them again. I will share the links also to our platforms, the Telegram especially, that where it houses almost everybody. So you can join, and that's where most of our mentors do share opportunities also. I will share the links now in the chat box. And the materials also that we will see in today's presentations, of course, the PowerPoint slides, I believe they will be shared at the end of the session in the Telegram page. So it's good for all to be there. I think without taking much of time, Dr. Tariq, I will hand over the mic, the virtual mic, to you to commence this session.
Thank you very much, Dr. Udil. Right, so yes, as you've mentioned, I think we've had quite a lot of interesting talks on, as you've mentioned, quite a wide range of topics ranging from entrepreneurship to scholarship opportunities, how you can go about writing your CVs, and lots more. So it's highly recommended to have a look at those previous sessions. So really the plan for today is to hear from our special guest of honor in person of Dr. Hajo Sani. But I think she seems to be a few minutes late, we understand. Is she here now, Dr. Yakubu? Or if not, probably we could start with
Yeah, I think she said she will be 5 to 10 minutes late.
Right.
So let me check if she's still there. Or rather, maybe we can start.
Probably,
Then,
probably we could start. I'm not sure if Dr. Ibrahim, is Dr. Ibrahim here?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here.
Oh, that's good then. Okay. Thank you very much, Dr. Ibrahim, for sparing time to be with us today. As usual, we go through a brief introduction of our speakers, and I always receive CVs that are quite detailed with quite a lot of experience. So I try to short that down. So I do apologize for that. So Dr. Ibrahim Wuni, he's currently a consultant at the World Bank under the Africa Fellowship Program. And at the bank, Dr. Ibrahim works with urban resilience and land global practice, where he supports projects worth over $200 million. That's quite a lot of money. Dr. Wuni holds a PhD in construction engineering and management, where he obtained a distinction from Hong Kong Polytechnic University, and then a master's in water and environmental management, which he also got a distinction from Herotwat University in the United Kingdom, and then a bachelor's degree in land economics, where he completed his degree with a first-class honors. And that was from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology in Ghana. So prior to joining the World Bank, Dr. Wuni was an associate professor in construction engineering and management at King Fahd University of Petroleum and Minerals in Saudi Arabia. And he's published quite a number of peer-reviewed journals and have received over 1,000 citations on Google Scholar. Dr. Wuni has also received several prestigious international scholarships and awards, which include the World Bank Group Africa Fellowship 2022 Outstanding Young Scientist and winner of the Green Talents Competition, as well as the British Dam Society Young Professional, the Hong Kong PhD Fellowship Scheme, the Commonwealth Shared Scholarships, and lots more. As I've mentioned, I've just tried to cut that short. Again, it's an honor to have you with us today. So I'll give you around about 20-25 minutes. Hopefully that would be enough.
Excuse me, please. Before the commencement of the presentation, I don't know if you would like, the ambassador has joined, so if you would like her to at least
yes, I think that was our initial plan. So I think now that she's here, probably would hear from her. We do apologize for that, Dr. Ibrahim. So maybe I'll quickly introduce Dr. Hajo before giving her the floor. Dr. Hajo Sani is an educationist and policy analyst with many years of experience in teaching and public administration, and she holds a bachelor's degree in education, master's in guidance and counseling, and a doctorate degree in public administration and policy analysis. She is a member of quite a number of national and international committees, associations, as well as other professional bodies, which includes the UN Women Civil Society Advisory Groups. And she's also a recipient of quite a lot of awards and recognitions, as well as national honors in the rank of Officer of the Order of Nigeria. That was back in 2006. And last year, Dr. Hajo was appointed by the federal government of Nigeria as the ambassador, permanent delegate of Nigeria to UNESCO in Paris, France. So we really appreciate it for sparing your time, Ambassador, to be with us today. So I'll pass on the virtual mic onto you. Thank you very much once again.
Thank you very much, Tariq. I think there's two issues you have forgotten to mention. Before my appointment, actually, I was the Senior Special Assistant to the President in charge of Administration and Women Affairs, and also in charge of the Office of the First Lady, Dr. Mrs. Aisha Muhammad Buhari. And then before then, I was also a Minister for Women Affairs. So this program is really very important to me because I believe it relates to something that I've been doing for many, many years, working with young people, working with the youth, and working with women, because in those days, the Ministry of Women Affairs was not just Ministry of Women Affairs. was Ministry of Women Affairs and Social Development and Youth Development. So for this area, I think I'm really very passionate about what I can do here, and I'm really very interested, and I'm happy that I got involved in this actual very important program. I thank the organizers. I thank Mubarak, who has linked me up to you people, to be able to hear what I have to say regarding this program. Thank you very much. And I want to start by saying that in the first place, I would like to thank you people for this mentorship program that you have created and putting it through for quite a number of times. It is really an excellent channel for enlightening, like I said earlier, alerting our young people to wake up, engage, and compete in this our challenging world. It is indeed a great job. I thank you, and to see young people like you who are bringing up issues to sensitize and create awareness among our young people who have actually been a problem in our society in Nigeria because of some few things that have been happening in this world and have been actually been carried out by young people. We are all aware that young people are the building block of any society, and it is really the prerequisite and indispensable ingredients, at least for nation building. Therefore, to build a society as powerful as our nation and to build a successful, distinguished society is the single most important investment we can make must be in our youth and the young people. This is what will sustain our country, our history, and our heritage, of course. I am very particular about this because we need a society where we can hand over from generation to generation our culture, our history. Here in UNESCO, we are doing a lot of things. One of the main mandate of UNESCO is for us to preserve our cultural heritage. And whom are we preserving this, our cultural heritage, is for our young people. So at this junction, I want to tell you, young people, that we need you. And we need you to wake up, to voice out. And we want you to be part of this country, our dear country, because our country also needs you. We need your talents. We need your endowments and creativities that are already ingredient in your heads and many, many in your minds, that we don't want it to be wasted. You are successful materials, ingredients that we need to strongly build our nation. Brilliant and intelligent people. We need your energy and we need your strength. We need your get up and go to build a stronger society. I want you to know that there are many, many opportunities and never been any time in history. This opportunity and chances are here because, you know, as young people, we know that even those with lower level of education, you are always into the social media. You are great movers of ICT. You are into many platforms. You are into many blogs. You know how to manipulate. So these are the great challenges you have. And these are the challenges. I mean, these are the ingredients that we need, that you people should bring it, or don't allow it to be wasted there. There are many opportunities down here at international level for you to further your education, for you to improve yourself, for you to develop yourself. And today there are more than 1.4 billion on employment opportunity in the world, with millions of them new and continuously replacement. When it comes to international education scholarship opportunity in United States alone, more than 1.7 million scholarships are available every year, which costs more than 46 billion US dollars every year. And this scholarship covers higher education, including vocational training, information and communication technology, technical engineering, science program. So I call on you to know that it is the time, it is your time. In UNESCO, we try to build the capacity of our young people in so many ways, particularly in ICT. We try to look for partners that will support our young people in building their capacity in ICT, especially young girls that have lower opportunity for education. And these are opportunities that will make them to grow. And you also need to fight for this opportunity. We are here to help you, and we promise to continue to do our best in such a level that we support you. The problem is you get to know, you need to know. You need to explore, you need to understand, you need to know that you have the capacity, you have the energy, and you have the intellect, you have the expertise that you can excel in your choosing career, in the job you want to be, and to get a decent education, the opportunity to find a good job, and the opportunity for entrepreneurs among you to turn their brilliant ideas into very driving and thriving business, ample of them in Nigeria. So we'll continue to be our best, and I will say thank you for this opportunity. And we have a kind of relationship in the multilateral organization like UNESCO and United Nations agencies, that we relate with our colleagues from different countries of 193 member states in UNESCO. And we understand ourselves, we try to capitalize on our individual expertise, our individual opportunity, and we try to collaborate, we try to coordinate ideas and learn from each other. Those things that we need, we know we help our country, and that is why we are here to represent Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ma. Thank you very much. We really appreciate sparing your time. We all know you're very, very busy. You have quite a lot of commitment. However, because of your passion to really contribute towards improving the lives of our younger generations, you've decided to spare some of that time just to give us this short talk that has quite a lot of very interesting, very inciting advice. So we really appreciate it. Thank you very much. We know you're very busy. If you have time to stay with us, that would be really appreciated, but we definitely know that you're very busy. So it's fine, of course, if you have to attend to other activities. So we really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and thank you everybody. Thank you, and nice to see all of you. Thank you.
Thank you once again. Right. So I think we've had what the ambassador just said. We have to, use all these opportunities, explore these ICT talents. There's quite a lot of opportunities. She did mention, and quite some numbers, very high numbers in terms of these opportunities. For example, she did mention there's over 1.7 million scholarship opportunities just in the United States. This does not even cover all other countries. And those opportunities aren't just for technical trainings, but rather there's opportunities for vocational trainings as well as other opportunities. And of course, the need for collaboration and partnership, especially she did mention something which is key, especially the young girls. We did have a session on girls' child education quite a while ago, but I think this is very important because what we've also noticed is in most of our sessions, we've got much lower numbers in terms of girls or in terms of ladies that do join our program. So I think this is something that our young girls should also take opportunities. So all have these mobile phones now with us that we take with us everywhere. So it's very important that we explore these opportunities in order to get out there, compete with other people around the world. So thank you very much once again. I think straight ahead, I'll call on Dr. Ibrahim. I think I've introduced Dr. Ibrahim. Dr. Ibrahim, I'll give you about, as I've mentioned, 20 to 25 minutes to talk us through again some of, probably reiterating some of what the ambassador have just mentioned in terms of those opportunities that are available out there. Dr. Ibrahim Yahya, are you still with us?
Yes. I'm here. I'm about to share my screen just a moment.
All right, thank you.
All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. If you could just make it in the, yes, thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Dr. Ahmed, for the introduction. I'd like to just add something that was probably not seen properly. in Saudi Arabia, I was an assistant professor, but not an associate professor, not yet. So I'd like to just add that one. I would also like to thank Dr. Sadi for the opening speech and the inspiration. The thoughts that she's already doing stuff in this area and that she's here to support this is actually quite inspirational. I have a belief that the distance between you and realizing your dream, it is never more than an opportunity that you utilize. And this cannot be underestimated. You would understand why I'm saying this shortly, but I'd like to use this opportunity to establish that this opportunity is everywhere, and you can take the chance and utilize it to reach your dreams. I have already been introduced already, and there's no need to add more. What I would present today, it's many components, but I'd like to just categorize them into two. The first part, I'm going to introduce the World Bank Group, and the second part, I talk about the opportunities at the bank and my journey. Perhaps that could help you to appreciate what is happening at the World Bank now. So a number of us have already read about the World Bank, and I'm not sure I'm going to give you some sort of a crash course in this. I just want to give you highlights. So for those who do not know the World Bank Group properly, because certainly I know there are people among us here who do not really appreciate that there's a difference between the World Bank and the World Bank Group. So in 1945, after the Second World War, the World Bank, not the World Bank Group, was actually established. And the core aim at that time was to help European countries to reconstruct their economies. You know, it was to kind of leapfrog them to speed up, to catch up with the developmental needs that were required. But subsequently, the World Bank actually grew into something else. So over the years, several other institutions called sister institutions have been introduced, because the original one, which was considered the World Bank, is what we call the International Bank for Redevelopment and International Bank for Reconstruction and Development, IBRD. But subsequently, International Development Association was added. And these two, IBRD and IDA, we call it IDA, these two constitute what we call the World Bank, not the World Bank Group. So these two in particular, I would introduce them later, what they really do. Another institution that was introduced is International Finance Corporation, Multilateral Investment Guarantee Agency, and the last one is International Center for Settlement of Investment Disputes. So these 5 institutions together constitute the World Bank Group. So it's not appropriate to kind of think that the World Bank is the same as the World Bank Group, because they are having different functions here at the World Bank Group. So as I said earlier, IBRD and IDA, they constitute the World Bank, and what they do is that they're just trying to support development projects in medium and low income countries. So the priority is not on developing countries, but if you explore the World Bank deeper, you realize that there are times that some support are granted to develop economies, but not in the form of funding, not always in the form of funding. IFC, MIGA, and Exit, they together constitute the private wing of the World Bank. For IBRD and IDA, they are focusing more on the public sector. So for the 3 institutions, the last 3, IFC, MIGA, and Exit, they actually support the private sector through these 3 functions. They kind of provide finance, and they also provide guarantees and sort of arbitrate when there are investment disputes. It's interesting for me to actually point out that the World Bank is not an ownership of a particular country. It has a membership of 189, if I'm not mistaken. And these countries together, they collectively own the World Bank. Perhaps maybe your country is part of them. You may want to look it up. For the World Bank, the World Bank Group in itself has 2 twin goals. And the first goal is to end extreme poverty, not poverty, extreme poverty. And the statistics is here, the numbers that they want to achieve, and to also promote shared prosperity. Now, I'm actually presenting these things because if you do not understand what the bank stands for and you're applying for a job over there, you may not be able to make a strong case for your relevance at the bank. That's why I'm saying this. The World Bank also offers different services, and they are typically categorized into three. They offer finance like loans and credits and guarantees as well. They also offer knowledge. You realize that you've seen a lot of World Bank reports on certain activities, certain development projects, certain knowledge areas. It is because the World Bank also offers these services to countries as well. And the World Bank has another service called the convening power. You recognize that the World Bank has the employment composition, it's beyond 70 countries. So there are so many people at the World Bank, and because of this power, they are able to actually mobilize. They mobilize human resources, they mobilize everything to be able to implement projects that can bring the change that they need. The World Bank also has a functional structure that you need to appreciate so that you know where you're targeting and where you're supposed to be. Perhaps it places you in a better opportunity to make a strong case for your relevance at the bank. The first one is corporate unit. And the corporate unit of the World Bank Group or the World Bank, whichever one, let me focus on the World Bank because I work with the IBRD, so that's the World Bank, part of the World Bank. So corporate units are part of the management unit. They oversee the organizational activities, human resources, administrative works. That's the part of the bank that oversees those stuff. There's also another one, which is the operations unit. And the operations unit is responsible for carrying out the day-to-day activities to achieve the goals of the bank. So you realize that these two are actually complementary. These guys on the corporate unit provide the administrative support, and the operations guys are those doing the work on the field to make the change that the bank aims to achieve. Now, under the operations unit, we have three units, sub-units, and we have the regional units. Now, the regional units are those you see like you would have an Africa regional unit. There's a unit that oversees the World Bank projects in the Africa unit, okay, like in the Africa region. There's also a unit for Latin America, somewhere in South America, somewhere maybe in the Middle East. I'm not giving you exact names, but the World Bank as a global institution cannot sit in Washington, D.C. and is able to actually provide custom-made solutions to all the regions in the world. So they decide to provide some sort of regional units across the globe so that they can champion the excellence of the bank. The second one is global practices. And this is something that you probably need to pay attention so that if you want to join the bank, you know which one you belong. The global practices, they are actually targeting specific developmental challenges. So for a global practice like my own, we do have something like environment, natural resources, and blue economy. So that particular global practice is targeting only and only environmental issues, the blue economy, which is the seas and the oceans. They target those ones. We also have another one, which is urban, disaster risk management, and resilience global practice. And as the name suggests, it is that particular global practice aims at actually focusing on disaster issues that are linked to the twin goals of the bank. You also find water global practice, you find other global practices as well. They are actually specifically working on very, very specific areas. Now, you have to be associated, if you're going to be part of the operations unit, which you are likely going to be, then you have to be associated with one particular global unit, a global practice. Now, the global themes are actually interesting because there are certain things that we have problems which are more pronounced in certain regions than others, but we also have problems that are global. For example, climate change, maybe inequality. These are the global themes, and they actually complement the global practice unit in actually pursuing the goals of the bank. I think this is probably the most important part you were waiting for, but I would like to remind you that if you do not understand the bank, I don't even understand all of it. It's very complex. But what I introduced to you, it's an opportunity for you to appreciate that, okay, when you're coming to the World Bank, you're coming at this point up to 2030, the World Bank is actually making some changes to either revise or twin goals or update, minus, plus, but that's not completed yet. but there are actually ongoing processes to do this. So if you are coming, you are going to support the goals of the bank. And if you do not know the goals of the bank, I'm not sure the bank would think that you are a better fit for their jobs. There are different types of jobs at the World Bank. Okay, and the first one is specialist jobs. You would find someone, he's a governance specialist, another guy is a land specialist, someone is a senior urban specialist. These jobs are typically close to permanent jobs. Okay, so you work with the bank and you probably have to rotate certain regions because the bank operates a policy of you having to stay in one place. If you are recruited as an international expert, like some sort of professional, then you will not be stationed at just one spot. You may have to work in Washington, D.C., go to another, you go to another region, another regional, you keep rotating that way every 4 years or so. Now, these jobs can be quite hard to get, and usually people will go through other jobs to get to this job. Because once you reach this job, it looks like you have arrived. Well, usually you haven't arrived, but some will consider it as you have arrived. Another category of the jobs is consultants. Consultants, there are different types of consultants: short-term consultants, short-term temporaries, extended term consultants. There are different names at the bank, and they have different privileges and rights and opportunities. All these ones are at the World Bank website. You can find them. But what consultants usually do is that they are actually expert in a particular area that they are invited. Usually they advertise the jobs and you apply. If you're fit for the job, then they will recruit you, then you deliver the service. You see, when you deliver the service, because this is temporary, you tend to get paid based on the work you deliver. So these type of works are not quite like permanent, but trust me, consultants are actually a significant component of the staff at the World Bank Group. Now, there are other routes that you can take to the World Bank or the World Bank Group. You have the Young Professionals Program. Trust me, this program can be quite hard to penetrate, and I give you the statistics. This is an annual program, and usually they can receive applications up to 10,000 or maybe 20,000, and they will only recruit 45. You don't have to be intimidated by the numbers, because trust me, there are human beings who get recruited under these programs, and certainly we can also get recruited. What the young professionals, let me just shorten it as YP. What it does is it offers you some sort of a 5-year contract starting with 2 years, and you go through training and mentoring for you to understand the objectives of the bank and how the bank operates. Usually, people would use this particular path and become and attain the specialist status. But it starts with 2 years. Upon satisfactory performance, then you finish the rest of the 3 years, and probably you get a permanent position at the World Bank. This is the common route. Now, there's another one. This is what I'm actually enjoying at the moment. It's called the World Bank Group Africa Fellowship Program. Now, this one is actually targeting only Africans. Okay, it's only Africans, and it excludes every other nationality. Okay, if you're not an African country, if you're not coming from an African country, you cannot apply for this one. So the problem with this is it requires a PhD as a minimum requirement. Not a PhD that you have completed. You should be in the second, third, or final year of your PhD. Usually they say that you should be enrolled on a PhD or you have graduated, okay, quite recently. But if you look at the process and the trends, you should be in your final year or you have graduated for you to increase your chances. I forgot to mention that the Young Professionals Program, the minimum requirement is a master's degree. And once you have a master's degree and you have 5 years of 3 years of work experience, that's acceptable. And usually if you have a PhD, they consider that one as 3 years work experience. So with a PhD without any work experience, you can still apply for the Young Professionals Program. There are other opportunities too, like the internship. For the internship, this is good because I've met a number of interns at the bank now. Even if you have a bachelor's or even, minimum requirements to be a bachelor's or even a diploma, you're able to get an internship at the World Bank. And usually the World Bank, the way the World Bank operates, I'm not actually representing the World Bank, but this is my observation. Okay, my opinion is not that of the World Bank, but I made this observation. Even if you go in as an intern, the World Bank would like to retain people they have worked with and understand them. Okay, so it gives you some sort of a springboard for you to be able to grow at the bank. Even if it is not instantaneous, you can still go and come back later because you already understand it. And if you were given a UPI, then that becomes interesting. Okay, so these are also routes that you can go through to get to the bank. There are other programs like World Bank, Japan, kind of scholarship, a number of them that I cannot list here because of time constraints. But what I would like to tell you now is, irrespective of which of these, which of the opportunities that I mentioned earlier, you have to struggle to get it. There's no easy way to get it at the bank, trust me. But the good news is you don't have to see somebody and pay somebody some little money to get it. That I can tell you. If it is happening without my notice, fine. But I got in there through the hard way. Okay, so I tell you what you should expect. One thing which is non-negotiable is technical competency. You should have a training in something. Maybe you have a bachelor degree in accounting, you have a bachelor degree in planning, or any other thing. I can say with much confidence that the World Bank recruits everybody. Okay, they recruit everybody from finance to social scientists to environmentalists. They recruit everyone. I see lawyers at the World Bank, legal practitioners at the bank. So if you have a training in any relevant background, you can explore whether you really want to work with the bank. And if you feel that's what you want to do, you look for the job description. If it matches yours, please go for it. The second one is skill set. At the bank, you are supposed to work with a lot of people, okay? And working with a lot of people means that you would need skills beyond just your technical competence. Being a competent engineer, being a competent accountant or a financial management expert doesn't necessarily, it's not an end in itself. You still need other skills. You still need to be able to talk to people very well. You still need to be able to communicate. You should be able to work in a team. You should be able to, plan yourself very well. So there are other soft skills like maybe data management skills that you need, analytical skills you need. All these skills are part of it. So it is possible that you are the best in your class or your cohort in your whichever school you graduated and you apply and you still not get it. It's because you may not have a complete set of the requirements, or maybe other people had superior credentials more than you. But these two are non-negotiable. Okay. The third one is you need to understand the World Bank group operational model. As I explained earlier, if you didn't even know the difference between the World Bank and the World Bank group, I'm sure you will be mixing the two in your statement of interest. Definitely, you need to understand where you're going before you go there. And I gave you a brief introduction to it. Perhaps this is the most important, preparing a strong application. I don't know how much time I have left. Can you, the moderator, can you remind me so that I can see if I can spend some little time here?
Right. So far, around about 5 minutes. We'll just give you about 5 minutes. Yeah.
Okay. Right. I'll wrap this up quickly. So for a strong application, I want us to recognize that there's a difference between a CV and a resume. CV typically may be suited for more formal academic jobs. Okay. Of course, other industry jobs are formal, but academic jobs. But a resume often is tailored for industry jobs. And usually what we see in resumes and CVs are things that you must design to fit the job description. Okay. I'm not sure you just pick an academic CV and then you just transplant that into a resume and it works. I would explain my journey shortly, how a simple change in the CV made the whole difference. Now you have to make room for rejections. Trust me, the bank is very prestigious, and I bet all of us, if not all of us, most of us would like to be associated with the World Bank. But usually with these numbers, then you expect a lot of rejections. You will receive love letters. We regret to inform you that you have to normalize accepting that. It doesn't mean you're bad. It actually means that there are so many people who are more worthy than you or worthier than you. Well, I think the trick is once you have done the first 4, forget about the room for rejection. Once you've tried the first 4, then you have to try again and keep trying. But each time you have to improve your application. Otherwise, it won't work. Now, I'll give you my journey. Okay, so I met Dr. Gambo in a conference in Ghana in 2019. And then we spoke about opportunities in these multinational or international organizations. And he told me that your profile fits very well and you can get a job there. At that point, I told him I'm going to get to the World Bank. It's either I get in or I get in. Okay. I didn't have option, by the way. So I started the preparation, and I can tell you, I'm not trying to scare you, but I applied in 2019. I didn't get it. Apparently, it was because I was just at the start of my PhD. 2020, I did. It didn't work. 2021, I just became angry. I stopped. I didn't apply. Now in 2022, I applied it and I got it. Now I made some changes because obviously I had to observe what was wrong with my application. Because for the Africa Fellowship Program, usually they recruit somewhere 15 to, this year I think they're up to 35. I don't know how that worked, but 15 to 35 out of somewhere 2,000, 3,000, or even 4,000 applications. So they don't give you feedback. You have no idea what went wrong. And so I had to constantly revise, and something happened. I contacted someone who was a fellow, and I asked him to review my documents. He reviewed my documents and he made comments. I wasn't convinced. And I told him to share his CV with me. And he was generous to share his CV with me. And I looked at it, I saw structural problems with my CV. I revised it. I don't think that's the only reason, but I'm very confident that that was a significant component. Because when I went to the bank, I asked my team, why did you recruit me? And they said, when we looked at your profile, you were just good for our team, so we took you in. I'm sure it was as a result of several changes that I made. Now, I'd like to give you some takeaways. The takeaways, the first one is that you have to, first of all, decide whether you want to work at the World Bank in the first place. The World Bank is not a best fit for everyone else. Trust me, if you're the type who enjoys, you don't have to work under tight schedules, and then you like to work at your own time, perhaps you may want to go in as a consultant. But if you become a full-time member, definitely you would be prepared to work and attend meetings, a lot of them, okay? So you decide whether you want to work at a bank, and if you have decided, then you prepare your documents and apply as if it's not even possible for you to fail. I always say that it's either you get in or you get in. So you keep applying until you get it. There are age limits for some of the applications. Once the age limit passes on, then you forget about it and move on with the next target that you have for employment. The last thing I'd like to remind you is that never forget that there are human beings who are working at the World Bank Group. Thank you very much.
Wow. Thank you very much, Doctor, for that detailed. I hope you can hear me. Can you all hear me, please?
Yeah, I can hear.
Yes, we can.
I think you've really done it, justice to this particular title, or talk rather, and you started by dissecting really what it entails. What are the different associations and the agencies that do make up the World Bank Group? We've talked about the number of countries that are involved. We've talked about the goals. Really, one has to understand what are the goals, and also the services as well as the units. You did mention, for example, in terms of the units, you've got the corporate unit, you've got the operations unit, and each of those have its own really goal, what it really does within the World Bank Group. You've also talked about the different types of jobs, because it's very, very important, of course, to understand exactly what are the different types of jobs and see which one suits you best, and then see how you can really plan ahead towards making your applications. So some of those jobs you talked about, the specialist jobs, the consultancies. You did mention opportunities for young professionals program, even though it's really, really complicated or very, very but it's as you've mentioned, it's humans that work at the World Bank. So that doesn't mean, even if it's the chances are very, very slim, that doesn't mean that you can't make it. Of course, I think what you've mentioned is very, very important for our listeners to understand. There are a lot of these opportunities, but that doesn't mean that all you have to do is just, because sometimes you receive messages, oh, how can I, apply? Or once I apply, what are my chances of getting in? So you really have to know that these are very, very, highly competitive, but nonetheless, you can still make it. There's the World Bank Group Africa Fellowship you've mentioned, as well as the internship, and each of those would have its own requirement. Probably I'm sure there's going to be a question and session at the end of the program, but maybe just a quick question here. Probably participants would be able to see more detail of those requirements when they go onto the websites, wouldn't they?
Could you repeat the last part? I got carried away. I was still listening.
Maybe age limitations. I'm sure that would clearly be specified on the websites. Yeah.
I'm happy to disclose these ones because this is public information. So for most of the jobs, there are no age limits. Age limits. But for the Young Professionals Program and the Africa Fellowship, you must be 32 years at the time of application. 32 years or less. So beyond that, that becomes a big problem, unfortunately.
So we can go and sleep then and forget about it. Thank you. You did mention, what are the sort of skills and competencies? So in terms of requirements, you really have to have that technical competency. You need to have those set of skills. These soft skills are very, very important. As you've mentioned, you might have the technical know-how, but really don't, miss or lack those soft skills, which are very, very important as well. And also understand those operational models, which you've already covered in the first part. We did had a session on how to go about writing a statement of purpose as well as CVs. And we've already highlighted the need to ensure that your CV is specific to that particular type of job that you're applying for. And then, of course, you have to be ready to accept rejections. Just, normalize that. It's okay. But the most important thing really is to reflect on that, experience and see how you can improve, because always the goal should be really making improvement and then seeing how you can progress from that. So thank you very much once again. Hopefully you would stay till the end of the session. I'm sure our participants have quite a lot of questions. I can see some people are already raising their hands. If you have some questions, please do put those in the chat box. We'll have this addressed at the end of the session. And I'm sure there's going to be quite a lot of questions because this is a very interesting talk. Thank you very much. So I'll call on our next speaker in person of Dr. Najeeb Gambo. Really, as I've mentioned, Ambassador did mention that I've missed out a number of details when I was trying to introduce her. I tried to cut the series short. I've received, as always, quite a lot of detailed, experiences. So I do apologize for that. I should have done that earlier. But Dr. Najeeb Gambo is currently a researcher at Microsoft Africa Research Institute in Kenya, and his research interest is highly interdisciplinary, cutting across human-computer interactions, computer-supported cooperative work, and emerging field of crisis informatics. He backed his PhD from Brunel University in London, and he's also a certified digital skill trainer, open to providing voluntary training on areas related to EdTech, digital transformation, applied digital skills, as well as productivity within the workplace. Dr. Najeeb, thank you very much. I think I'll give you about 20 to 25 minutes also. I hope you're here with us. Dr. Najeeb, are you here?
Yes, I am. You just need to enable me. Okay.
It says you're starting to share your screen. It hasn't
let me know.
Yet. Okay, yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. Dr. Tariq, can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Okay. So, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is my pleasure to once again be with this noble forum. My presentation will focus on 7 must-knows of job hunting with multinational corporations. It is good to give a disclaimer that I'm not speaking on behalf of Microsoft. I'm only sharing my experience, my personal experience, not only necessarily related to Microsoft, because like I had stint with a lot of organizations, and it really shaped my understanding, perception, and experience with regard to job hunting. So in my presentation, I am going to focus on like 7 different aspects of job hunting. And it all relate to multinational corporations like big techs like Microsoft, Facebook, Amazon, and all other techie organizations. So this is what I intend to discuss about perspective, source referral, CV, then social networking site interviews, and just to share a takeaway, just the same way Dr. has shared his own takeaway. So from the perspective I'm going to make this, when we talk about big techies like Microsoft, Facebook, Twitter, and all other organizations and other even multinational corporations, I really want to inform people that it is not all about technology. When we talk about working in Microsoft or Google or any other corporation, we are not only interested in people with the technical skills, the coding skills, those programmers, those security guys. It is not all of them that work in that. So I really want us to really reframe our perspective with working with techies. You can be a lawyer and you can still work with these corporations. You can be in sales and marketing, you can still work with this organization. You can be in public relations, you can work with that organization. So you can be in business management, you can be in that organization. You can be an educator, you can be in that organization. All you need is just to change your perspective on looking at how technology corporation operate. So there are several jobs that are not specifically like technical related. By technical related, I mean they may not specifically related to information technology, computer science, AI, and all other stuff. There are a lot of opportunities. All you need to do, please try and see whether you compete within that. And sometimes I tend to tell people when it comes to the nomenclature of the job description, sometimes it really scares our people. Like I mentioned in one of my presentations, someone came to me and said he has seen this job, but he doesn't have this skill set. I said, you do have this skill set. And I began to ask him, have you participated in so and so? He said, I said, these are all these things. All you need is just tweak your CV and you will be good for that job. So that is one thing I want you to take away with. The second thing has to do with career paths. I think Dr. was able to provide different routes to career paths in the World Bank Group. So also it applies to this multinational corporation. You will see that when you go to any website, let's say Microsoft or Google or Facebook, you realize that there is a place they call under careers, there is a place they call professional. Then there is another place they call student and recent graduates. So if you are a student that is currently undergoing their studies, for example, you are in the university and you are in your final year, look out for student hiring initiative from these organizations. So you don't necessarily need to have your NYSC certificate, your final year result. They are interested in you because there was this kind of Nigerian hiring initiative that Microsoft volunteers like came up with, because like Microsoft was interested in hiring students from Africa, and we were able to volunteer and mobilize a lot of people. Unfortunately, I have seen few of our people from the northern part of the country. So we have this Twitter space where we explain to this prospective applicant what it requires for them. They don't need to be a graduate. All we are interested in people that are in their final year or those who completed their first degree. This is the kind of people they were looking for. So in summary, we have two career paths. professionals, those that are into intermediate, they are working somewhere and they want to switch jobs to this organization. This is where you look at, and there are students that are currently working or even interns. That is where the student road is all about. So that is about perspective. Then another important thing has to do with understanding where you are going to get a lot of information that is timely. So most of the places you need to go, like if you are interested in joining Microsoft, so they have this on their website, that is a tab they call careers. So what you need to do is just go there, register your name, complete your profile, your email address, and even if you need some people to be your reference, there are places that you are going to put all these things. The next thing for you is just to identify the type of job role you are looking for, then just subscribe. That is one of the easiest way you are going to find information. So once you subscribe, so you can subscribe like daily, weekly, or monthly, so that they can be sending you like different job offers that are available, job roles, I mean, that are available. So once you subscribe, you will keep getting this notification weekly, monthly, or daily. It depends on the specific job description you are interested. But I will advise you here that don't only like limit your preference. So you can choose like 3 or 4 different type of job roles that you feel like fit in. So this is the first, the career options. The second one has to do with LinkedIn. If you go to LinkedIn, most of these organizations, they have their presence on LinkedIn, and even the career website there. All you need to do is just follow that link, and if you can also identify people working from that organization, for example, people working in Microsoft or Google or Facebook, if you realize that you share nearly the same like work interests, so try and follow them on that LinkedIn. Sometimes they do share, they do recruit a lot of people. So the moment there is this job availability, they share it through their link. So that is how you get to know this is what is currently going on. And there is also this Twitter space, which is a big thing now in corporations. So they mobilize people. So if you can follow people from specific organization you are interested in joining, and you realize that they are hosting a lot of Twitter spaces, so try and do that. That will also be helpful. And I think one of the things I realized lately is the most important component of job is referral. Why have I said referral is the most important? By referral, I mean, like if you know anybody working probably with Google or Microsoft or any other organization, if you can engage him politely, but I don't advise like the moment you have a connection with someone on LinkedIn today, the next thing is like, if you can give me a referral for a job. No, try and establish that relationship. Then once the opportunity comes in, try to ask him on whether that person is interested in referring you to the organization. Referral helps you, like there are 3 different routes you go, you became employed. The first one is referral. So if somebody can say, like, for example, if Dr. Tariq is working with Google and I approach Tariq, say, I have seen a job role for a user experience researcher in Kenya, for example, in your organization. I'm not sure on whether you are happy to give me a referral. So they have in their system where they will go and fill in the information of that specific person, then they will ask you to apply. And for some organization, for some, I didn't mention any name, like if somebody can give you a referral and you became successfully employed in that organization, Some of these organizations can even award monetary incentive to the person who referred you. So people will always be happy to give you referral once they are like very, very happy about your attitude, about your technical competency, because the more they refer people, the more they get money from that organization, because organizations tended to trust people that are referred more than those who applied through the website directly without referral. That is why you realize that according to ZPR, they said referrals are 4 times more likely to be offered a job than a website applicant. So that is one of the great starter answer I will give you. So if you are looking for something, try and get any other person from that organization to give you a referral. And they also said employee referrals account for 30 to 40% of all hires. So you can hear, this is according to statistics provided by DPIA, a career recruitment organization. And they also mentioned that 45% of referral hires stay longer than 4 years compared to only 25% of job board hires. That is why this corporation tended to trust people that were referred to them more than those who make a formal application to that organization. So I hope this things. Then another interesting thing that I need to hammer on, just like what Dr. mentioned, like in my life, I think from 2015 to now, I review more than 500 CVs. And I can tell you that those CVs I review, like not more than 4% of them can pass the applicant tracking system criteria. For those who are familiar with job application, most of the time when you are dealing with this kind of organization like multinational corporation, the first filter is just for them to look at the resume, and they don't have the time. That is this applicant tracking system, they put it there, and this applicant tracking system look at a lot of metadata related to the specific job description. That is why every resume is different. If you are applying to 10 different jobs in one particular organization, you need to provide 10 different resumes. And this resume must specifically capture the job description and skills requirement mentioned in that job advert. So based on my experience, Nigerians, I don't know where we got this template from. You will see common pitfalls on CV that will not allow you to even pass the applicant tracking system. And I believe Arewa mentors were able to have this kind of a session where they talk about all these things. And to talk about my experience, I think I have this job clinic for like 4 times, where I will ask people, those who are interested in attending my job clinic, which is a physical. I taught this like from 10 up to 5, where people will, before I give them a go ahead to attend my clinic, I will ask them to put in an application and send in their application. And I realized there are common pitfalls with CVs, but time will not allow me. I would have given you different example that will make you laugh on why most of us are not even fit for even small jobs here, talk less of this multinational corporation. So I think the issue of CV, if you are listening to this presentation, kindly review the presentation by this group so that you can learn how to improve your resume. Now, coming back to LinkedIn, why am I interested in people looking for job in multinational corporation to take advantage of LinkedIn? There are so many reasons. The first thing has to do with visibility. If you have an attention-grabbing profile on your LinkedIn profile, not only attention-grabbing profile, you have different certifications and you have people who recommending you that they work with you in different projects, and they were happy that you are good in teamwork, you are good in collaboration, your interpersonal skill is certainly the best, you have this and that. I assure you, most of these recruiters will be coming to your inbox and start asking you on whether you are happy to work with them. In one of the lectures I presented, I shared with you different screenshots on how people were approaching me on whether I'm interested in particular job role. So that is why job is good for you to have an amazing presence in LinkedIn. Thank God now, one of the things you can do is just go to ChatGPT. Ask ChatGPT to just write your name and say, hi, ChatGPT, write an attention-grabbing profile summary for a LinkedIn. Then give it some different parameters like teamwork, technical skills, good in data management, data hygiene, this and that. Give it and allow it to generate something, then tweak it to your own profile and put it there. It will really help you in giving you visibility. And another thing is like network. Remember, they said your network is your network. It's really, really important for you to have different people and for you to have different network. One of the, okay, I will come back to network, I said. Then another thing is like on LinkedIn, there are different places that you can search jobs directly. You can also subscribe, like if there is any job role related to data scientists, or job role to system analysts, or job role to something in these multinational corporations, let them give you like a notification. So that one is really, really important. And the second way, remember I said the first way for you to get job is through referral. The second way is to be a friend through networking on LinkedIn with recruiters. If there is any time remaining, recruiters I don't know if there is not enough time, I can tell you. All you need, like, if you are interested in finding friends, recruiters on probably Google or Microsoft or what do you call it? Facebook, Meta. So what you need to do, just go to the LinkedIn, search, for example, Microsoft. When you search Microsoft, you will find on top, they will say,
I'm not sure whether it's just mine or everyone's.
No, it's not just yours.
Right. We'll give him a few minutes, hopefully.
I think he got some network issues. It's out.
Okay. Right. I think he's heading towards the end of his presentation from the outline.
Yeah.
The takeaways, the part that's missing. So probably I'll quickly summarize what Dr. has said. I'm not sure if he's going to be able to join us before then. If not, then we'll move on to our next speaker. So I think Dr. did really mention a lot of interesting things as well. One of the most important things is that, that perception that, if you want to work in a multinational tech company, then you have to be a tech expert. So he did mention there's quite a lot of opportunities for other experts as well. So not just things that has to do with technology, but rather whether it's law, whether it's business and what have you. So there's a lot of other opportunities within those companies. It doesn't have to be just the programmers or the software engineers. In terms of the career path, he did mention similar to what we've heard with regards to the World Bank Group, there are a number of different career paths depending on one's experience. And the easiest way to source all this information is going through the careers website, so where you can register and put in your information as to, and also select how often you want to be receiving emails, for example, with regards to the vacancies or the opportunities that are available within these multinational companies. And also he did mention other avenues that one can explore, such as the LinkedIn, of course, and also Twitter Space. He did mention how important referral is, and the beauty of most of these, or some of these applications, for example, the LinkedIn, is you can build that network over time, and then you can see really among your connections which people are working within these companies that you're interested to work in. So you can, build that connection, as is mentioned, first of all, and then later request if you could get any referral from people that, or from your networks. And another important thing is that sometimes those that refer you could also be paid a certain incentive. So it's a kind of a win-win situation. So people would be very much happy as far as they are satisfied with your competence as well as your skill set. He did mention the need to have a very important or very tailored CV, as we've heard in the previous talk. And I can remember, I think we've had already 2 or 3 sessions. Even the last session, the Hausa session, Dr. Yakubu, you did mention dedicated a part specifically for CVs and statement of purpose. I think we had one earlier when we first started the Alleyways mentorship as well.
I think he's back. Dr.
Okay.
Najeeb is back. I don't know.
Dr. Najeeb, I think it's just the last bit that we haven't had really the take home. You were talking about I think you've also mentioned a very important thing, the ChatGPT. Probably would have a session specifically for that.
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, if you could just conclude in a minute or two, and I've already summarized most of the things that you've mentioned already.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. My apologies. Like I told, I have an emergency and they have been calling me.
Oh.
So that's what prompted this.
Right.
Just a minute. So I was trying to say, if people can connect with recruiters is one of the most important things. So I was trying to show how you can do that on LinkedIn, but because there is no time, I can just go to the second to the last part. Now we are talking about interviews. What I realized with a lot of people we discuss, they don't understand how some of the interview approaches happen at these multinational companies. Depending on the nature of your job role, there are different interviews that normally happens. The first one that screen people out is phone screening. Once you apply, you send in your CV, and these recruiters realize there is potential with you, they will just send you an email that is going to be a 40-minute chat. So they ask a lot of things at the beginning, including what is your expectation with regard to salary range. This put people up. A lot of people, that is where the problem start, because like they didn't prepare about all these things, so they gave them the fumbles, and that is where they will no longer hear from the recruiters. So phone screening is important. Once you put your CV there, start understanding the approach to phone screening. Read on Indeed Careers, read on a lot of things how they do this. And another thing that we don't normally do here in Nigeria, but I think because like Google, Facebook, and other tech companies are now in Nigeria and they are coming, including PwC and Deloitte. So there is possibility that some of the roles they will call you for assessment center. This assessment day, they will call you just for like a day to be with them, the way you enter the hall, the way you discuss with the receptionist, the way you eat food. These are all the kind of things they assess your interpersonal skills. That is another thing that we should be aware about. So once you have these interviews, try to think what type of interview and read extensively and understand where they are doing this. And that is another thing that I realized whenever I meet with people preparing for exam, they don't understand this behavioral interview question. This behavioral interview question, normally people ask you about, tell me about a time when you have a conflict with your manager, or tell me about a time when you show effective collaboration all this time of this thing. So these people, their mind is framed based on what we call STAR approach. Like if you are giving them example on how to answer that situation, you need to do this STAR approach. STAR stands for situation that happens. You are going to give them the example. T is for the task that you have undertaken. The A is for action that you have taken. And R is the result, as a result of this. So these are the kind of approach. Please, if you are going to have an interview, go and learn about like 25 behavioral questions they ask during the interview. And there is this competency-based exam they do. For example, those who are going into technology, like there are a lot of simple things they are going to ask you to do. So there is this task-based exam, which is really, really important. Another thing they talk about has to do, there is a final screening with regard to the interview you are going to do. When you pass all these stages, the last one has to do with the overall boss or the team leader that will really be interested in understanding you. If you pass that one, and before that, there is this difficult conversation. There are few things that people normally miss when it comes to interview with these big techies. The first thing they ask you, tell me about yourself. People think like this is really a simple question. So it has its own way you start describing yourself, because they know about you, because they read your CV, but this is something that you need to really understand. That is the component of asking your strengths and weaknesses, how you do this and that. So please, when you are going for interview, look at phone screen, assessment day, behavioral competency, final, and difficult conversation. And one of the takeaways is number one, please, get a mentor that work in that organization. Let him try to give you an insight, look at your CV, and tell you and inform you a lot about a lot of things. It is really, really important. The second thing has to do with accountability partners. There is no single presentation I will make without giving a reference to accountability partner. Accountability partner are those friends in progress that will always be asking about your progress, how you have done, and how you will be able to improve. Please, if you need to succeed in life, go and get accountability partner. Another thing is like expectation management. I don't need to repeat this expectation management. Our previous speaker has mentioned that you should normalize failure. That is part of the failure is part of the salt of everything. So you will be rejected, but you will learn from rejection. That is what all growth mindset is all about. Then another thing is resilience. Yeah, you need to be resilient enough. When you are disappointed, you receive rejection, first rejection, second rejection, third rejection. Don't give up. Probably the first attempt might be the attempt you will be able to get in. And the last one is prayers and parents. Man, if you really want to succeed, if your parents are alive, try and ask them to always put you in the prayers, and you need to do prayers. And I think one thing I have forgotten to mention before I go is if you are going for technical role, if you are an accountant or you read social studies in your degree and you are interested in working with these people and you have the skills, please apply. You don't need to be from computer science or information system or information technology field. If you are applying, once you are competent enough, they don't give a damn about your degree. Please apply. I think with this, I can say I thank you so much for the opportunity given. And I would be able to answer some of the concern or questions or follow-up and clarification people will need probably through the Arewa Mentorship Telegram group, because I will be traveling. I have an emergency at home, so I will be traveling right now. And I will be driving, so I may not have all the luxury to stay up to the last in order to give you this. Thank you so much. I will be able to answer through the Telegram, inshallah. I promise that. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Alaikum salam. Thank you very much, Dr. Najeeb. We really appreciate it. As you've mentioned, you've had an emergency. However, you felt this is very important. You're also passionate about, impacting the lives of our younger ones. So we really appreciate it. I've seen a number of questions that were forwarded to you, but given your excuse, I think we'll, probably forward those onto the Telegram page. And whenever you have the chance, you can just respond to those questions. So we really appreciate it. I think I've already summarized most of the things that you've said. This last bit is also very important. However, given the time constraint, I can see it's already 3:30. I think we'll just move on to our next speaker for today. So thank you very much, Dr. Najeeb. Our next speaker is Dr. Mohammed Gambo. And Dr. Mohammed Gambo currently leads the Policy Research and Partnership Unit of Shelter Afrique, a Pan-African housing finance institution based in Nairobi, Kenya. And the position really is responsible for managing the policy, research, and partner relationship aspect of the organization towards providing innovative solutions to the housing as well as urban development challenges in Africa. Before joining his current role, he has consulted for several government multilateral development as well as finance institutions on innovative financing, infrastructure reforms, as well as regulation practices in sub-Saharan Africa, and has also served as a lecturer in the Department of Quantity Surveying at Ahmadu Bello University, Zaria. Again, similar to our previous presenters, have cut his CV down. He's published quite a number of publications in the field of affordable housing delivery, innovative financing techniques for infrastructural projects, climate change, infrastructure reforms and regulations, and lots more. So, Doctor, thank you once again. Also, I think I'll give you about 20 to 25 minutes. That way we can have a short Q&A session before wrapping the program today.
Thank you. Good afternoon. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Let me start by thanking the organizers by giving me the opportunity to join this program. So let me proceed on to share my screen. Just a minute.
So before you share the screen, Dr. Mohammed, I would like to take this opportunity to inform the audience that are asking about the slides that they will be shared on the Telegram page. And I just pasted the links, the link tree to the AYMP handles, so you can use it to join.
Yakubu, can you hear me?
Yes.
This is Dr. Ibrahim.
Oh, okay, Dr. Ibrahim, are you there?
I'd like to ask Dr. Gambo to let me address something fairly quickly.
All right.
There is someone on the chat who said I am a scammer. I'm surprised.
Please just continue, Dr. Ibrahim. Let's talk in private.
Okay.
Let him continue. Okay. Yeah. Just continue, Dr. Mohammed. You have to unmute yourself. You have to, yeah, you have
okay,
to
okay, apologies. I'm just a technical
Are you able to share the screen?
Yeah. I'm working on it. Just a minute or so.
Yeah. So while you are sharing the screen, like I said, let me share this thing again to the general. I'll share the link. Yeah. So this is the link. When you go there, you will see all the social media pages, the Facebook, the YouTube. In particular, the YouTube contains all the past sessions, like I said, so you can access the previous ones if you have not watched them. Yeah, good. So we are there now.
Okay, so can you, is my screen visible?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you once again for this opportunity. I've already been introduced, so I'll just move on to the presentation proper. Of course, before I proceed on, just a kind of a disclaimer. These are purely my views, my opinions, and of course, experience within this international development space. For me, I'll look at it in terms of generally the first presenter, Dr. Ibrahim. He gave us, a general understanding of, what is expected of a person applying for the World Bank Group, the various sectors, the various kind of groupings that all forms the WBG. So for me, I will look at it from the larger space in terms of the international development industry. What is required in terms of, disclosure for a person that is interested in this sector? How can you be able to really improve your technical, soft, and other competencies for you to make an imprint in this space? So starting with overview of the international development space, what does it entail? I think it's important. I won't take much time on it because already Dr. Ibrahim Wuni has given us what is required, because it's all tended towards attending to achieving a reduction of extreme poverty. That's the whole aim, that's the whole agenda. But in this, I'll just add up in terms of the other area of international development, not only the development space, but also the humanitarian assistance space. Of course, for the development space, is the principal focus is on reducing poverty, while that of humanitarian is all tended towards intending to save lives, alleviating suffering, and maintaining human dignity in terms of the human crisis and other disasters. So that's the whole aim. And of course, it's important to understand that aspects of poverty, it cuts across, but the key aspects relating to lack of access to basic services, health, shelter, education, water, and sanitation. These are the key areas that, of course, all international development agencies and institutions are working towards providing solutions to. So what are those skills? I don't have to really reinvent the wheel. The first two speakers have already kind of elucidated on these facts. So for me, I will just kind of focus on some other areas from my own experience. First and foremost, of course, the academic training. I don't have to delve more on that because that is the basic capacity required for you to make an imprint in that space. But of course, one key area that I would like to highlight is that you don't have to really get a postgraduate degree. We're talking about a master's or PhD degree. No. Even with your first degree, what is required is for you to really put yourself to get the hands-on experience. So in some instances, I also always kind of advise colleagues in the industry and whoever is willing to enter into the international development space to work towards getting experience. After that first degree, even before you turn towards your postgraduate degree, understand what the industry needs by practicing in the sector, in terms of volunteering, in terms of paid job, in any way possible. Then by the time you're going for a postgraduate degree, of course, you have a clearer picture of where your interest lies, what the industry needs, and where you feel you can be able to make an impact. So that's very, very important, for us to really not put it as caveat that you must have that postgraduate degree. But of course, if the opportunity comes, the higher degree, the better. Then one key area that I would like to highlight that from my experience in the industry over the years is that fluency in languages, very, very important. Of course, in Nigeria, we're an Anglophone country, but one thing that we always miss out is that all of the international development agencies, for you to really have that an edge is the capacity to be able to speak more than two languages. Of course, you have from Nigeria speaking English. If you have an additional language, for instance, Arabic or French, for us in West Africa, French is even much more important. Because look at it, we're all surrounded by Francophone countries. But if we kind of take a survey of how many experts we have there in the industry or aspiring, people that want to enter the international development space, we don't give so much priority to French. So, and that is what is given an edge to kind of our colleagues from the Francophone Africa side. They go a long way to really, they have been taught in French, but they go on to learn English. They have their postgraduate degrees in English. They go on to have courses. So at the end of the day, that gives them an edge. So I think that's something that I would really kind of advise and mentor, the next generation of individuals interested in this space, to really give that language skills and importance. There are centers out there. There's Alliance Française, there's Bonjour Institute. There are institutes across, even our universities. They do offer such courses in French and Arabic. So I think if we can be able to do that, you're not expected to have the full proficiency, even the basic, or the kind of conversation skills. I think it's something that will give an edge. And of course, all the other capacities and skills are identified. Excellent writing skills. I don't have to delve more on that. Administrative skills, very important. And then one key aspect that I would like to highlight is relevant work experience. Very, very important. Volunteering, internships, very, very important. For instance, one thing I've realized is that like most of our undergraduates, if we are in a 5-year engineering course, any of the courses, not even 5 years, they have an opportunity to go for an internship, which in most instances, it's a full semester, 4 months, 6 months or so. That is always an important area that you can go on to acquire skills, because by the time you get the hands-on skills from the internship, 6 months, and then later after graduation, you'll be able to get posted to an industry where you can have relevant skills as a youth corper at the NYSC stage. I think that will go a long way. At this stage, one aspect I would like to highlight is don't worry so much about what monetary, what you stand to gain monetarily. No, at this instance, focus more on the skills, focus more on the experience. That's what matters. And as at that, once you'll be able to really kind of impose that confidence in the institutions, then that's all. Any other opportunity that comes, you'll be the first person to be considered. So relevant work experience is very, very important. Then other aspect that I would like to highlight is fellowships, scholarships, and grants. Very important, and I'm glad that the Arewa Mentorship Program have really kind of given so much consideration for such initiatives, fellowships. Once you do have that capacity to apply for scholarships, for grants, for fellowships, by reviewing your CV, by developing a good cover letter, statement of purpose, that will give you a springboard when you're applying to international development institutions. Then, of course, passion and commitment to the cause. You need to, of course, that passion, that's what will drive you to make an impact into the industry. Innovation and creativity. Think outside the box, provide solutions. That's what it entails. Then lastly, this context is that you don't have to really focus only on the technical skills. There are other skills that can be transferred, to what that area entails. So as the two previous speakers indicated, even if you're a lawyer or the governance space, really, you can be able to transfer those skills to what is required in the industry. So moving on to personal skills, very, very important. Yeah, it's a combination of both the technical and the soft skills. That will make you to stand out. Adaptability, you need to really adapt, to changing work patterns. Cross-control sensitivity. In such institutions, it's a combination of individuals from different walks of life, from different countries. To be able to adapt, that will go a long way in enabling you to make an imprint. And then understanding and respecting points of view, different points of view. Yeah, that will really kind of give you that room to provide, innovative solutions. Ability to maintain effective relationships, partnerships, and network. I think let me take time to highlight on this. Networking is very, very important. Already, Dr. Najeeb made mention of aspect of mentorship, aspect relating to referral. It's all within that space of networking. That is very, very important. Know those individuals in the space. How can they be able to guide you? How can they be able to mentor you? How can they be able to really put you across what is required? So I think that's something that should be given due consideration. And of course, it requires patience. Yeah, it's just a one-off thing. You need to really develop the patience and the gradual mentoring exercise required. And one other thing, of course, be able to manage your workload, prioritize tasks, delegate when necessary. It's important. And then acquiring new skills. It's key because the industry is always changing. Always open up to improving yourselves, technically, new courses, new programs, and at the same time, not only acquiring the knowledge, transfer those skills acquired from those, courses that you have participated to what is required on the ground. I think that goes a long way to make an imprint in the industry. Then specializations. On this, I'll just, kind of give a high level go through in the medicine and health space. Pediatricians are required, nurses, nutritionists, public health experts. All these are, are skills, are specializations that are required in that industry. And then within the finance space, HR, fundraising, communications, capacity building exercise, also important. Built environment and engineering. Yeah, particularly those related to the SDGs. We're talking about water and sanitation. We're talking about energy, housing. All these are key areas required. Climate change, climate finance. I will take time to really elucidate on this. This is a key area emerging. I would really like to implore the participants here to really give it a consideration, because really we're all seeing the impacts of climate change, the floods instances, issues relating to changing impacts. It's a reality. So now most international development agencies are really looking into how can we be able to provide solutions that are aligned to the realities of climate change. And of course, the financing. So all these are areas that I believe will go a long way if, you acquire the skills required. It will give you an edge to have an imprint in the sector. Disaster management, food security, governance, logistics, law. But of course, this is very limited, but just an overview. And as I said earlier, there are cross-cutting themes, and it's not kind of one size fits all, but just a kind of a guide in this context. So moving on to this presentation, I'll just give an overview. Of course, already Dr. Ibrahim Yahya has given a highlight on the World Bank Group. So for me, I will kind of give an overview of the UN system, because that's the, a kind of, it's very, very wide, it's very, very expansive, and there are lots of opportunities there, which I would like, the participants here to really explore. As earlier on, we had the guest speaker, the Nigerian representative at UNESCO, that she has given a highlight on the opportunities there. But that's all limited to UNESCO. There are other opportunities there within the UN system. You have the UNDP, you have the UN Habitat, which is responsible for aspect related to settlements, housing. We have the UNEP, which are responsible for environmental, climate change, World Health Organization, international level organizations. I've indicated the site there, the career website. Go on, UN website, the career website, go on, check the requirements, what is expected of you, then give it a try. It's all about what the other two speakers indicated. Just have a good CV, have a good cover letter, statement of purpose, understand, what is required in terms of the job specifics. That will go a long way. Then moving on to opportunities in the UN system. Of course, there are various opportunities there. The junior professionals officer program, the volunteer program, internship program, temporary jobs consultants. Just similar to what Dr. Ibrahim indicated at the World Bank. It's quite similar there, of course, at the UN system. There are various areas. You don't have to get the PhDs, the master's degrees, even with your first degree, or even lower with the diplomas. But what is required to understand, the job specifics, and to tweak your CV and the application to be aligned to the expectations of that industry. Then there are other multilateral institutions. It's not only the World Bank Group, it's not only the United Nations. There are a lot of other institutions out there that we can explore. They're all related to development assistance, humanitarian assistance. For instance, already World Bank Group have given a highlight on it earlier on. We have the African Development Bank, which its activities is somehow similar to what the World Bank does, but it's Africa focused. So the website is there, I've already indicated. They have lots of entry opportunities through the internships. In fact, I think now the application is on for the World Bank, for the African Development Bank internship program, which is virtual. So I think with that is a good entry point to such institutions. Give it a try. Young Professionals Program, consultants, other regular positions. It's all a matter of understanding the job requirements and having a strong application to submit. You have the Islamic Development Bank based in Jeddah. There are lots of opportunities there, cutting across the internships, the YPPs, regular positions. Also, the website is there. OPEC Fund for International Development, all tending towards opportunities that, countries that are OPEC members, which Nigeria is one of the member countries. So we do have an opportunity to explore in that space. So they do have lots of opportunities in that area in terms of the internships. So I think they even have scholarships. So all what I say is that don't limit yourself to, of course, the top institutions. There are a lot of other institutions out there. They do offer such opportunities to explore. Then there are other Africa-focused institutions. All what I may mention here, they are kind of wide, broad-based, but they are Africa-focused, such as the African Union Commission, based in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. They have internships, they have regular positions, the website is there. And of course, the institution, which I do work, Shelter Africa, we are into providing solutions for housing across Africa. There are opportunities in terms of internships, regular positions. You can log into the career portal to explore the opportunities there. Then there's the outer NEPAD, New Partnership for African Development, based in South Africa, all tending towards achieving the development goals of Africa Union Commission Agenda 2063. So there are opportunities, not only regular positions or consultants, no, internships. There are the Young Professionals Program, which is quite in one way or the other kind of similar to what Dr. Ibrahim indicated in terms of, the entry opportunities, what is required in terms of the application processes. It's just a matter of understanding the context, understanding the job specifics, and then having a strong kind of application that, will make an impact. And of course, mentorship, networking, that will also go a long way. We have the ECOWAS, which is based in Nigeria, in Abuja, the Secretariat. They have opportunities. So just, an overview of what is required for us to understand that the opportunities are not limited to the World Bank, to the United Nations. There are other cross-cutting institutions, from housing, urban development, climate change, enhancing youth empowerment. There are lots of institutions that are looking out for competent individuals that can go on to fill up vacancy of spaces. So as I conclude my presentation, I think it's good to give us a kind of a highlight of what's the future of international development. As we are kind of enhancing and opportunities in that space, to understand the industry, where is it leading to, and how can we be able to acquire the relevant skills and capacities to make an imprint. First and foremost, we need to understand that the use of technology will improve and continue to be, play an important role in development programs. Aspects relating to using mobile-based payment systems, use of GIS, use of, technologies that are always changing. The reason for highlighting this is to understand the future trends and for us to go back to the drawing board and acquire those skills required that will enable us to apply and get recruited in these institutions. Then, of course, more sustainable solutions, aspects relating to renewable energy, conservation, sustainable agriculture, promoting inclusive growth, are all emerging areas which will continue, which is expected to really, have a positive role within the international development space. And then finally, the future of international development will likely focus on root causes of poverty and inequality, rather than just providing short-term relief. So aspect related to governance, which is expected to really have, a relevance in that space, aspect relating to enhancing capacity of local governments. All these are emerging areas which will go a long way in open up opportunities in that space. So this, my last slide, our sources, which I've used, to work on this slide. And one key area source that I would like to elucidate is DevEx. From my experience, it's a very, very rich portal which you can explore opportunities in the development space, from internships, Young Professionals Program. All these are, and lots of other, indeed, lots of other portals. But of course, the key area is to go on to these individual institutions, log into their career websites, check the opportunities there, and then, of course, keep on trying. As the two speakers indicated, is of course give room for rejection. It's okay. It's keep on trying. Be resilient. Always improving on your applications. Always be exploring mentorship opportunities, networking. I think with this, they will give you a good standing to be able to be recruited in this institution. So this, I would like to thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Dr. Gambo. And as I've mentioned earlier, we do appreciate it for sparing time for you to give us this very insightful talk. You've mentioned quite a lot of interesting things as well. Given the fact that we're running out of time, I think I'll just briefly mention a few things that you've reiterated, things like, volunteering. I think we've been talking about the need for our youth really to try to reorient their thinking in the sense that you'll have to, one way or the other, think about volunteering. It's not all about paid jobs. Sometimes you do need this volunteering in order to start getting some of the experience, some of the skills that you need in order to excel in this job search space. You've mentioned, quite a number of skills that are required in terms of, office-based skills, fluency in 2 or more languages. I think this is also very important, things that we take for granted. And when you go over these job applications, or rather job adverts, you a number of times see this requirement. Even if it's not in the essential part, it would be in the desirable part that, they would need someone with at least fluency in another language, as you've mentioned, in French or in Arabic. I think this is very important that we should start thinking of. You've mentioned there are a number of opportunities. For example, in Kano, we have the Alliance Francaise and all other units out there that are very much willing to support you in that sense. The need, of course, you've mentioned the need for innovation and creativity, the need for one to be, a problem solver. And also you've mentioned about a number of opportunities within the UN system. It's not just the UNESCO, there's the UNDP, there's the UNICEF, there's the World Health Organization, and lots more as well. And as Dr. Yakubu mentioned, I think we'll have these slides posted on the, what's it called again, Dr. Yakubu? Telegram, on the Telegram page, and you should be able to refer back to these very useful, very important information. So I think at this juncture, I think I would open the Q&A session. Dr. Gambo had to leave earlier. He's had an emergency for which he has to, Dr. Najeeb, sorry, he has to attend, but I think we have Dr. Ibrahim here with us, yeah?
Yeah.
Dr. Muhammad and Dr. Ibrahim are here. So I've already received a few questions, some through the chat. I think probably I would read a few of those, and then I can see some people are raising their hands already. We can get a few questions before closing the program today. Right, so I think I've seen one question for Dr. Ibrahim, which asks if there's for the World Bank, is that a set of time for which applications are open, or is it all year round?
Right, so let me start by also saying that I already made mention that these opinions and submissions are my own, not in any way representative of the World Bank or any of the institutions. So for most of the jobs, they are advertised based on need, and you can always check, you can always Google something like World Bank jobs. It's open, it's open to the public. So you can always Google World Bank jobs. For the consultancy jobs, there's no time for it. It's when there's a need, then they advertise the jobs. The specialist jobs, there's no time limit, but though there's no time specifications. But those I know that there are time allocations or periods in which it's open and closed is the World Bank Group Africa Fellowship Program. Usually it opens somewhere in June, July. Right. And the Young Professional Program is also somewhere in July, August, like this.
Right, thank you.
For the internships, and I haven't tracked that because I have never tried any of those.
Right, thank you very much for that. And then that's probably a follow-up question. Are there any opportunities for medical students?
Well, I do not know a lot about everything at the bank, but I can say that you probably have to check, because I've seen people who are working on the public health issues at the bank. So if this is something which is closely related to your field, to the medical field you've mentioned, then that's fine. But for doctors, I don't know. I have no idea whether doctors are recruited there. But well, what is very obvious here is that we all need to appreciate that there is no job which is tailor-made for your profile. You have to adjust.
That's it, yeah. Thank you very much. Right, I think I'll call on Mohammed Babangida. Mohammed Babangida, if you could unmute yourself and ask your question.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Hello.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yes, we can.
Yes, my question,
Yes.
I want to the first presenter, Dr. Wuni, that he mentioned that there was a time he applied for the job, and unfortunately he didn't make it. So he made some correction by contacting one of the fellow. So I may like to know, how did he come to have the contact of the fellow, please?
Right.
That's a very difficult question. But it looks like you're asking me to teach you how to find people. Let me also highlight that this is just a specific case. The good news is that the World Bank actually publishes the fellows. In more recent years, like 2020, 2021, and 2022, they published the fellows. So it was easy for you to search their names and probably go through LinkedIn to get them. But some people also indicate their some of the fellows also indicate their titles via LinkedIn. So you can find them on LinkedIn. If you can see them as African fellows, you see this. I see a number of them, including myself as well. I put it clearly that I'm an African fellow. So if you find that, you're able to reach out to the person, and probably like the second presenter said, you establish the connection first and then you declare your intentions.
That's it. Thank you very much. And then we've got iPhone. iPhone, can you unmute yourself and ask a question? If not, then yes, go on, iPhone.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yes, I have to thank the organizers of this program for the opportunity given for us to join. I'm also a young professional. I have my undergraduate and postgraduate. I'm a member of Special Institute of Accountants, also Special Institute of Taxation of Nigeria. So my appeal is for if the members of this platform can be visiting the universities, especially at the graduation time or the convocation time, to enlighten our younger ones. They may not have the opportunity to be part of this, but if we can go down to the universities, and as I see, most of you are PhD holders, academicians, so this will really give an opportunity for our younger ones to have this kind of insider information about this multinational, because actually Arewa is far left behind in this aspect. So
Right.
if the organizers, yes,
Thank
if the
you.
organizers can,
yes, thank you very much for that comment. I think we'll make a note of that. We really appreciate it. Thank you very much, Dr. Yakubu. I think we'll make a note of that, and we'll discuss on that probably later. Thank you very much. We'll go on to Mujahid Nasser Hussain. Mujahid Nasser Hussain.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Thank you very much to the organizers for this wonderful program. My question here is, I think Dr. Ibrahim mentioned something that I missed it out. Some difference between a refugee and
I think it's quite difficult to hear you.
Hello, I said Dr. Ibrahim mentioned something about a refugee and a TB. So
I'm not sure if Dr. Yakubu or Dr. Ibrahim got that question, because I didn't get that. Right, I think
I usually prefer not to answer the question if I haven't heard it clearly.
Yes, that's right. So we'll go on to Mustafa Dew. Mustafa Dew.
All right. Good afternoon, and I will say very well done to the team, and thank you very much for organizing this. I just wanted to inquire on how to join the LinkedIn group that you earlier mentioned. I don't know if there is a link.
A LinkedIn group.
No, sorry, the Telegram group. The Telegram
Right.
group.
I think that has been posted on the chat, but I think Dr. Yakubu would post that again. If you go through the chat, it should have the Telegram as well as all the other social media platforms. I can see it's already been pasted on the chat. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Right.
Dr. Yakubu or Dr. Fawzia, do you have any comments from the chat box? Any questions from the chat box?
Doctor, he needs the link, right?
Yes.
It's already pasted, but let me post it again.
Okay. Do we have have you picked any question from the chat box?
No, I haven't. I have to check.
Okay.
I think you can continue to allow those who have raised their hands, maybe.
Okay, I think that's a question
you want
about,
to stop?
I think we'll ask a few more questions. I understand it's Asr time now. We'll ask a few questions and then we'll call it a day. There's a question about the CV. I think we've really talked about this in detail. So I would really recommend you go over the previous sessions and watch those sessions that talked about CVs. I'm not sure if Dr. Ibrahim or Dr. Muhammad are willing to share some sample CVs that we can put onto the Telegram as well for people to have a look at, some sort of examples that they could see.
And also, again, Dr. Tariq, for the sake of those who have raised their hands, maybe they have some important questions. They can still ask their questions on the Telegram page. We will open the page at least for some hours, so you can just ask your questions, and I believe the speakers will respond to your questions accordingly. Since we don't have enough time for everybody to speak here.
That's right. So if we go on to Awesome, is it Comfort?
Please be careful with omitting those ones that their name is not like clear.
Yes,
I think we are done. He has already completed. He is rounding it off. I think we will no longer take questions, right?
Good evening.
Yeah.
You want to take a few more?
I think we'll take just maybe 2 more and then we'll call it a day. All right.
Okay.
So is there any lady, Mariam? We have Mariam towards the end.
Yeah. Mariam, please unmute yourself.
Mute yourself.
Hi. My name is Mariam Lawal, and I'm joining you from the Arewa Young Women Development Initiative, AYW. And I just want to commend what you're doing. I always miss your programs. I always get it at the last minute. But yesterday was good. I found it and I was so happy. I've invited our founder. He was on the program. He was listening. So thank you very much. I don't have much of a question, but it's just to commend you on what you're doing. Thank you so much. And we hope to maybe at some point partner with you, because we have so many young graduates that need some advice and guidance, and really just to motivate them a little bit, give them that kick to go out and do something. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much, Mariam, and we're glad you've been part of our session today, and we're always open for collaboration. So that's you can always reach out to Dr. Yakubu, and we can see how we can collaborate. I think the overall aim really is to see how we can contribute positively towards impacting positively impacting the lives of younger ones. So thank you very much. I think I'll call on last person, probably Muhammad Awal Kabir, and then we'll call it a day.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah.
Alaikum assalam.
Good evening all, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to learn. I want to know more about the procedures where medical personnel, not only the medical doctors and the nurses or medical lab scientists. I'm a physiotherapist and I've been looking out for the opportunities to apply. But most of the people you invite are, I think, non-science based or tech service. So I want to appeal to you, maybe when next time you are inviting, you are organizing such a program, please do well to invite an expert in a medical field that will help answer most of our questions. I thank you so much. May Allah continue to make you excel in all of your endeavors, and may this serve as a witness for you in the hereafter. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And yes, I think we have a lot of talks planned, so we'll look into your suggestion, and hopefully we'll have one very soon. So thank you very much. I think finally I'll call on Dr. Akubu, just a final vote of thanks, and then we'll call it a day. I've mentioned this a number of times already.
Yeah, thank you very much, Dr. Tariq. And at this point, I would like to thank you all for coming. And I would also like to stress that if you have something like that you want to offer to the program, because usually most of the programs here that we do, thankfully, the speakers sometimes do reach out to us and propose that this topic will be of significant importance to our people, and they recommend that if we can host this, and then we allow them, we give them the platform to. So we are always open. If anyone has something that he feels it's important to share with our people, please feel free to reach out. Thank you very much, and we look forward to seeing you in our next session, hopefully anytime soon, inshallah. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Tariq, for the wonderful moderation.
Thank you very much. Once again, we thank Dr. Hajo Sani, Dr. Ibrahim Wuni, Dr. Najeeb Gambo, and Dr. Muhammad Gambo for sparing time to be with us today. Thank you. And of course, you, the participants, we really appreciate it.